well as Stephanie Howe, who is a Google Educator Group lead for the Ohio chapter, as well as the global GEG, and an instructional technology coach. And we're going to be joined by Dave Messer, who is a product manager for Google Classroom. We're all going to be talking about a couple different ways to access Adobe Express and some new updates that are going to make it really easy to get into this creativity tool for all of K-12. And to talk more about Adobe Express in general for those who are new to it or who have used it a little bit and are thinking about ways to expand usage of creativity and creative expression in the classroom, I'll turn it over to you, Alana.
Great, thanks, Cliff. So I'm going to tell you about Adobe Express, which we love at the Adobe for Education team. It's a way for your students to make anything they need. It's web-based. You can get it on mobile and web browsers. It works on Chromebooks, and it's engaging, exciting, and fun for students. They can create presentations, images, and animations, as well as web pages and videos. We've got some new and improved features as well. Thousands of customizable education templates. So these are really helpful for students because they don't need to start from a blank slate. They can have sort of like an on-ramp to creativity within the product. We also have an integration with free Adobe stock photos, which are safe for K-12. As I mentioned, it's easy to use on web, Chromebooks, and mobile. We also have quick tasks, which are my personal favorite, like creating a GIF, removing background, importing PDF, all powered by Adobe technology. Adobe Express is really powerful to help students find their voice in the classroom. You can see on this slide some examples of student work across content and across age groups. So let's talk a little bit about how to access Adobe Express in the classroom. You may already have a district account. If so, there are two ways to sign in. You can go to Clever, ClassLink, Canvas, or Google Classroom and click the Adobe Express product card. You can also go to express.adobe.com and click Login with School Account. You can also choose Continue with Google. And if you're not sure if you have an Adobe Express account, you can go to express.adobe.com and try logging in with your school account, and you might be pleasantly surprised. If you don't have a district account, Adobe Express Classroom accounts may be for you. Any K-12 certified educator in the US with Google Workspace for Education is eligible. So I'm going to show you a quick video that compares district and classroom accounts, and this should give you a better understanding of the difference between the two.
Adobe Creative Cloud Express for Education makes it even easier for students and teachers to visually communicate ideas with flyers, stories, and videos in minutes. There are two options to help teachers use Creative Cloud Express in their classrooms. Both give schools, districts, and teachers access to premium features included with Creative Cloud Express for Education and are completely free to use. Today, some of you may be using Creative Cloud Express for Education through your school or district. A school or district account is created by a school or district administrator. The admins are able to create these accounts on behalf of students and teachers. Classroom accounts, meanwhile, are a new Creative Cloud Express feature that allow teachers to create their own teacher classroom account, invite students to join their classroom with a class code, and manage their classrooms, students, and student work from the Classroom Manager. Now that you know what the classroom accounts can do, let's get you started. When you're logged in to Adobe Creative Cloud Express, you have access to the Classroom Manager, the teacher dashboard that helps you manage your classrooms and your students. You can also add more classrooms in the Classroom Manager. Just click the plus sign on Create New Classroom and then enter in the class name, subject, grade, and period. Next, click Create Classroom to generate a new class code, which you can share with the students you want to access that class. In Classroom Manager, you can create as many classrooms as you need. You can see all the classrooms you've created. The Teacher Dashboard lets you create more classrooms. Invite students and see which students have joined. Once you're done setting up a class and sharing the class code with students, you'll be able to see which students have joined the class and review and share their work. Just click the ... symbol and click View Projects. From here, you can see the projects this particular student has created. Click Load More Projects to see the full list of projects this student has been working on. You can also view or delete projects. For example, if that student has created a project that may be inappropriate, you can click the project and either view it or click Delete. You'll need to confirm that you want to delete the project. Students can also share their work with you and other students when they're ready. They can use the Share button to get links to Creative Cloud Express projects or to see download options.
Okay, so let's review some of the features you just saw in that video. Classroom Account includes what's called Classroom Manager. This is really exciting functionality that allows you to see all your students in the class, invite students, and use Google Classroom roster import. You can also block or remove students. You have the opportunity to create and view multiple classrooms to keep your students organized if you're teaching different classes. And you can also view and moderate student work. So if a student creates a project that is not appropriate, you can actually delete it. Or if there's one that's a really great example, you can make a copy to use as a template for students in future years. Released just this spring was uploading rosters from Google Classroom. So once you make an Adobe Express Classroom account and set up your classroom, you can add your students easily by syncing with Google Classroom. And that's just a roster import, just a few steps. Your students then get an email inviting them to make an account, and they're in. So there are lots of benefits of Adobe Express Classroom accounts. As I mentioned, you can invite students to create an account. You can use a class code or import your roster. You can also view student work in progress and make copies of projects or delete as needed. And you can remove or block students' accounts. So if you don't have an Express for Education account yet and you're looking to get started, create one now. I'm going to pass it now to Stephanie Howell to talk about how she uses Adobe Express in the classroom. Stephanie?
So I am excited to share how we have been using Adobe in the classroom in Pickerington Local School District. And we have been able to use Adobe with students that are in grades K through 12, and it's completely safe for our students, which is so exciting because I know that a lot of teachers want to dive into creativity with their students, but a lot of factors come into play with that, or a lot of barriers come into play with that, or roadblocks. And so I know some of them for our teachers, or some of those roadblocks, is time. They want it to be quick. They want it to be easy. They want students to be able to log in really quickly as well. And so using Adobe in the classroom has kind of eliminated some of those barriers or some of those excuses for our teachers. And students are able to go into Adobe and they're able to create using templates or from starting right from scratch. And teachers are able to quickly go in and they're able to sync using Google Classroom. So teachers are able to go in to Adobe and using Express, and they can sync with Google Classroom through roster import. Once students have logged into Google Classroom and they have typed in the code or they have clicked the link to join, then teachers are able to go to Adobe Express and they are able to click the icon where it shows Google Classroom and they're able to roster their students. So again, it's quick, it's painless, and there's zero excuses that you're able to use this in your classroom. So now let's talk about some ways that we have used Adobe Express in the classroom to really help our students improve and to dive deeper into the instruction. So I'm going to share 3 different ways, and these are kind of back to school ideas, but you can use these ideas with any kind of theme in your classroom as well as the school year takes part. So this first one is Thin Slides. Thin Slides is an edu protocol, and it is a great activity that you can use as an exit ticket. So right here, I've got Thin Slides, and then you can put any topic that you want in here. For this activity, I'm thinking back to school. So I want to know what their favorite food is. So that might be my topic. However, maybe you're teaching about the Civil War, or you're teaching about fractions, or you are teaching about theme or certain character traits. What students are going to do then is they are going to have a blank slide. So again, using Google Slides and Adobe can make a really great pair with this activity. Once you have your blank slide and every student has a slide, they're then going to think of one word and one image. So whatever that topic is, they're going to come up with one word and one image for that slide. They're also going to put their name in the speaker notes. Now, if you have taught before, sometimes it's easier if you go in as a teacher and you add all of your class into the speaker notes. That way you can tell the students to go to whatever slide they need to do. But if you're working with adults or high school students, you're usually able to tell them to find a blank slide. After that, you're going to remind the students to not mess with another person's slide, and then they're going to share their slide for 5 seconds. Students are going to have a timer to create their thin slides. Anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes is a great time limit for students to work on their thin slide. What you're going to do is you play that timer. Students will go to Adobe Express and they're going to create their graphic of that one word and one image right here. So again, it's a quick, easy activity that they're able to create. Once they're done with their one word and one icon or one photo, they're going to go to this share button and they can share this directly to Google Drive. Once they save it directly to Google Drive, students can come back to that activity and they have their slide and they can go to Insert. Once they go to Insert, they can go to Image and they can add from their Google Drive. And once their Google Drive loads, they'll be able to find that image and add it to their slide deck. And so as we're kind of waiting for this to pop up, we'll see if it pops up. And it might take a little bit, but once it pops up, they'll be able to add that image right onto their slide. And if they're starting from scratch, students are able to use a template so they can search for different templates in their Adobe Express, or they can create a brand new custom size. On here, I'm able to search by popular. I could do a social post, and it will automatically resize this for my students. I'm going to go ahead and do landscape and next for this activity. Now that I've done next, another great thing about using the classroom view on Adobe is I can click into my students and I'm able to see them working live. I'm able to see them moving images around and duplicating anything or adding their images in. And I can also see those students that might not be working, and I can go over and offer assistance to those students. So right here on my blank canvas, if I'm a student, I can go in and add text. And again, we're looking for that one word that we might add, and then students can search for images. So again, I'm talking about food, so I'm going to do cookies. I love cookies, and I could use one of these images. Once I have that image, I can add it on over to my canvas. And then I just need to add my text. And again, students have 5 minutes to complete this activity. It might take them a little longer the first time they do this, but by the time that they get used to the tools, they're going to go really fast throughout these activities. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to type in homemade. So I've got my homemade cookies right here. Students, again, can change the font if they want to over on this side. They can change the color of the font, and they can change however they want to. Again, we can go to save and we can save it to Google Drive, or if you want to, your students can download it as a PNG. Once they download that image, they can go back to that slide deck and then they can add it to that slide, and everybody is able to share quickly 5 seconds why they picked cookies and why they picked those words. So for example, my favorite cookies are chocolate chip, and I love them homemade because I used to make them with my grandma all the time. And you quickly start to build relationships with students. However, the topic does not have to be back to school. You can use this for anything in your classroom. So again, that is thin slides, and that is our first activity that we were able to kind of talk about. Next thing that I like to do at the beginning of the year is Google Classroom. So in Google Classroom, there is a header. And on that header, I like students to create those custom banners. So with those custom banners, students can come in and they're able to introduce themselves or introduce a topic or whatever they want to do. They're able to customize their own banner. Once students create their banner, and again, we like to use Adobe Express, Then students will vote for their favorite banner. Once students vote for that favorite banner, that winning banner becomes the Google Classroom header. So again, me as the teacher, I don't need to create it. My students will create it for me. And what they do is in Adobe, they can go into Adobe Express. They can search templates. So they could start with a template and we could do Google Classroom header. And once they search, there are a couple different options that pop right up, or students can start from scratch, just like we did with the Thin Slides activity. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick this one that was already created. And what students can do is they're able to change the words. They're able to change the icons that are on here if they want to. So they can delete these and they can go into shapes and they can do math. And all of these keywords are able to add these different icons onto the design, and they can actually change these icon colors, which can be really fun for students to do and to make that classroom culture come alive. So this is one way that students are able to do that. You can have them download it or save it to their Google Drive and add it as a Google Classroom assignment. And then students can share their classroom banners with the class, and then you'll vote for your favorite one that you might use. Another activity is another Edu protocol. It's called Number Mania. And on Number Mania, what you do is students have one fact and they typically have a spreadsheet or Google form. So with Google Forms, students will import that one fact of whatever topic they're learning about. So maybe they are researching information about an author, or maybe they're researching information about a social studies topic or science topic. Students will go ahead and they're going to research and they're going to find one fact. Once they have that one fact, they are going to fill out a Google form. So on that Google form, typically all it asks is for their information. And after it asks for their information, it's going to ask them to tell their number and their description of their fact and then the source. Now, because I'm doing this back to school and it's going to be personalized to the student, we typically skip this first step when we are doing back to school activities. But I like to use this protocol over and over again because, again, the students get faster and the responses get better and better every time we do it because they're so familiar with it. So again, my students will go in and they will fill out their description and their number that they researched. After that, students will have one shared slide deck. So right here, I usually link the Google Sheet. So after I fill out that Google form, I will put that Google Sheet right here. My students are able to filter which 5 to 8 facts they want to use for their infographic. And they are using the class research bank that they have created from that Google form. Then every student will have one slide or one Adobe Express canvas. And after that, they're going to have an infographic with about 5 to 6 different numbers all over it that represent what they've learned from their research. Here are just some quick examples of students and what they've created. So again, you can see here they've got different numbers and facts to represent. And all of these examples look very, very different depending on the student who created this actual activity. Here's another one where you might use compare and contrast. So they are 3 different locations, New England, the middle, and the southern. And students are kind of comparing and contrasting. Again, it's an infographic where they're showing their knowledge for those different activities. So here's my example that I've created that I like to show students. So having a template that you can show students makes it quick and easy to kind of show them. And I can talk about how I've been in education for 8 years. I can tell them my birthday. I can tell them that I wake up at 4 a.m. because I'm a morning person and I go to bed at 8 p.m. And then I have a 2-year-old. And what students are able to do is they can share their poster as you quickly go throughout, or you're able to have your students share just one fact. And again, using the Adobe with the classroom import, I'm able to go in and I can quickly click on my students to share, or we can download them to the same slide deck for them to share as well. So what I like to do for this activity is students will either find a template or they can, again, create from a custom size. With the custom size, I am going to have them do a poster because we're making an infographic. Once they have their poster, they're going to hit next, and then they can add their text. They can also go in and add shapes, which I love this shapes tool because it's like those great icons that they're able to use on their infographic. And students can find any of these activities that they might want to use on their About Me activity. So they might say brother. So they might have a brother, and they can find one of these little icons to help represent that they have 3 brothers, 1 brother. They're also able to go in here and change the color of the background if they want to, change it to kind of have their own color theme or color palette. And then students are able to, again, go in and customize this to fit their needs. And then they're able to quickly share with the class because I have the ability to just kind of click on my end as we go through. And it's an easy way to share and collaborate with the classroom. So other perks, you can view that student work. So if someone does something inappropriate, I'm able to go in and I can quickly delete it or kind of look over and have a conversation with that student. I'm able to make a copy. So if I see an example that I want to share with another class or another group of students the next year, I can go in and I'm able to make a copy of that example because sometimes when students need to see an example of what it's going to look like. I also do not need my IT team to set this up. I'm able to go in and set this up myself. So those are some of the perks when it comes to using Adobe Express with that classroom roster import.
All right, thank you so very much. Now we're going to talk about a bit of a different way of accessing Adobe Express. As mentioned at the beginning, and as Alana walked us through, you now have the opportunity to create your own classroom account if you are a teacher who does not currently have access to Adobe Express through your district. However, millions of teachers and students already do have access to Adobe Express from a district provisioned account or a school provisioned account. The exciting update that we have to share about this is that Adobe Express is now available through Google Classroom starting August 1st as a Google Classroom add-on. So if your district happens to be a district that uses Google Workspace for Education, and you already have access through Adobe Express through your district, you will now be able to add in Adobe Express projects directly through your existing Google Classroom workflow. So I will talk a little bit more about what that looks like. We're going to hear from Dave in just a second here about Google Classroom add-ons as a whole. But for Express users, this is really exciting because, as mentioned, when you're creating an assignment in Google Classroom and you're doing what you typically do as an educator, assigning work to students, tracking it, grading it, you're now able to directly jump into Adobe Express from the assignment window and create customized projects for yourself that you then want to assign to your students, assign it directly to students. Students can then open it up in a new window. They'll see it in their assignment view. They can make a copy of the assignment and the asset that you give them. They can do all of those great modifications and customizations that we saw a second ago. And you are then able to grade within the actual Google Classroom window itself. So there's a ton of opportunity here to bring creativity into your existing workflow, to access those thousands of templates that we were talking about earlier with Adobe Express directly from Google Classroom. Again, this is a feature that is available to any school or district that is using the Teaching and Learning upgrade for Google Workspace for Education or Google Workspace Education Plus. So if you have those two additions, you will have access to the Google Classroom add-on, and all you have to do is just make sure that your IT admin has given you access to Adobe Express as well as your students. So I'm going to turn it over to Dave Messer to talk through add-ons as a whole and how this is really exciting for anybody who's using these top 2 tiers of Google Classroom heading into back to school. Over to you, Dave.
Thanks, and thanks everyone for joining us today. Before we get started, I just want to take a minute to say thanks to each of you for the work that you do each day for your students. I'm inspired that you're here to learn how to make your classroom even more amazing for them. Thank you. So my name is Dave Messer. I'm a former educator and now a product manager with the Google Classroom team. Today, we're super excited to share that your favorite EdTech tools now work even better together with Classroom add-ons. Google for Education began with a mission to empower educators and students to teach, learn, and collaborate from anywhere. Google Classroom is moving toward deeper interconnectivity between your favorite EdTech tools to help you power student potential. Google Classroom is an easy-to-use and secure tool that helps you manage, measure, and enrich learning experiences. It's easy to get started and simple to use. It's built for collaboration, and it lets you teach and your students learn from anywhere on any device. Now, with Classroom add-ons, you can create even more engaging, seamless, and personalized experiences for your students, all within Google Classroom. Classroom add-ons weave together your favorite tools to help save teachers time with one-click integration. Through that, you can log into Classroom and go directly to your favorite EdTech tools and apps, all with single sign-on, rather than logging in to different websites and waiting for each student to log in. It saves time in creating lessons. So it saves you time because you don't have to create new lessons from scratch. Instead, you can drop in content you created within your favorite EdTech apps directly into Classroom. For admins and setup, once admins set up each add-on from the Google Workspace Marketplace, teachers and students will automatically have access to their favorite tools right within Classroom. It also helps you make really engaging lessons. You can select from thousands of resources from your favorite EdTech tools and apps to give students an easily accessible and unique way to interact with lessons. You can also assign content and activities from within Classroom. No need to go directly to that add-on website. It will also help you simplify submissions. So now students can access their assigned work, review content, and complete activities within Classroom. Again, all with a single login. And to top it off, when they're done, educators can review student work with a detailed view of each student's performance. You can grade those assignments within Classroom with some add-ons that offer an automatic grading option within their lessons. So you can spend less time grading and more time targeting areas for student learning. You can also add personalized feedback, as always, when sharing their grades back with students. And what's incredible is it really brings that work that the student completed back into Classroom so you don't have to go find it in another tool. For domains with a teaching and learning upgrade or EDU+, you can install Classroom add-ons in minutes. Have your admin go to the Google Workspace Marketplace, find the add-on you need, and install it in seconds. Once admins have domain installed add-ons, educators can access these tools right within Classroom. Some add-ons do include subscription-based services or have other requirements for installation. Talk to your admin to get more information about how you can access your favorite EdTech tools. We are thrilled to have our 15 amazing partners available who supported us in an early access program this spring. The Google Classroom add-on feature will be widely available to the general audience in August, so you can begin to integrate your favorite EdTech tools with Classroom add-ons. With that, let's take a quick look to see add-ons in action.
Google Classroom Add-ons is a new feature that allows you to bring your favorite content, activities, and lessons from top EdTech tools right inside Classroom. Once your admin sets up an add-on, you, the teacher, can find it and get logged in with just a few clicks. Add-ons use a single sign-on from Google, so you and your students can sign into Classroom and your add-ons with the same secure login, removing the need to remember multiple passwords. And no more navigating to different websites to access classwork. Everything stays right within Classroom. To access content from your add-ons, open a new assignment in Classroom and select the add-on you want to use. Add-ons are custom built, so depending on the tool you're using, you'll be able to do things like browse, search, filter, and preview the content you want to use, then assign it to your students. Students are directed to complete the assignment, all without leaving Classroom. Some add-ons automatically grade assignments and upload grades to Classroom, saving you time, as well as providing detailed visibility into student performance. Learn, organize, collaborate, create with Classroom.
Thanks, everybody. We're super excited. We appreciate your time and look forward to hearing how add-ons helps you transform teaching and learning in your classroom. And don't forget, please connect with your school admin team to set up your Google Classroom add-on features. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thanks so much, Dave. Really appreciate that high-level overview of add-ons. Now, just to get back into the specifics of the Adobe Express add-on itself. A couple of things, and then I'll show a live demo just to level set. So when you click the Adobe Express icon from your assignment view, it's going to sign you in using single sign-on that your district has provided for you. And then you'll be able to, if this is the first time you've actually logged into Adobe Express, you'll see some custom EDU templates that are great for K-12. Graphics around order of operations for math, as an example. Science graphics around the rain cycle. You can open up web projects that give you opportunities for community activism or growth mindset. And then there's even video templates that you can start around sharing a recap or synthesizing your understanding of a particular literary text that you may have been reading in your class. So a lot of really good opportunities to access photos, templates, graphics, banners, reports, essays, the list goes on and on. When you actually open up a project, you as the educator can take that template, can modify it to your specific classroom and your curriculum content for that day, and then attach it. You will then be able to assign it to your students. The students will be able to come in and make customizations themselves. So we see this little snapshot of what your template as the teacher looked like, and then how a student may have modified it with an additional web page talking about a particular underwater sea creature as part of an elementary science class, as an example. We're looking at this asset in the context of Google Classroom. So you can see the full asset in the Google Classroom window without even having to jump in to Adobe Express. Teachers can assign a grade, they can provide a comment. So it's a really good way to quickly and easily create an assignment, customize the asset, give it to your students, and then actually grade that asset without having to log back into Adobe Express, because students submit it directly from Adobe Express by, again, sending to Google Classroom, and then you as the educator can see their submission, grade it, and provide feedback in just seconds. So a really, really useful integration that we're very excited to launch. And I'm going to go ahead and show this demo live. Okay. All right, so let me go ahead and jump into Google Classroom. You can see I am a U.S. history teacher, grade 11. That actually is what I used to teach. So I can go into my normal classwork, and I could create a new assignment. Actually, this is my student account. Let me switch. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new assignment. And I'm going to treat this as if it's one of the first assignments I'm doing with my students in the new year. So I'll call this a goal setting assignment. As you can see, my IT admin has turned on add-ons. They've added Kahoot and they've added Adobe Express. So I'm going to go ahead and click the Adobe Express button. And it's going to sign me in using my district credentials. Now, because I have used Adobe Express previously, I see all of my projects that I have saved in the launch window here. Notice that I actually haven't left my Google Classroom window. I haven't gone into another tab yet. This is all contained within the Google Classroom. So I could view previous projects that I may have created, or, as I mentioned before, I could start from existing templates that I'm seeing here by clicking that plus sign. So I mentioned this a little bit ago, but you can see some different templates across content areas and grade levels that may be really easy starting points for me to customize and then assign to my students. I'm going to go back to the beginning because I want to do something around goals for the year in my class. And this template around growth mindset seems like it would be probably a good way to customize and then assign to my students. So this looks pretty good, but I want to make some changes. Therefore, I'm going to hit the customize button. And again, it will automatically sign me in using my district credentials. And now I can edit this web page project. Instead of growth mindset, I'm going to call this my goals for the year in U.S. history. Your name and class I will leave because I want my students to fill that in. I'm going to swap this background image for a different image. And we talked about this a little bit ago. You saw a lot of different examples from the previous examples of using classroom accounts. The same is true for district accounts. So I could come in here and type in, if I'm doing goals, I could type in goals. See what Adobe stock photos show up. All of the photos that you're going to see in Adobe Express have been curated specifically for a K-12 audience for appropriateness. So you don't have to worry about students finding anything that would not be deemed classroom appropriate. I'm going to select this as the background image. And then we have different question prompts already listed here for growth mindset. So I can change this into something like the SMART framework. What is your goal could be the starting point. And then I could say, how is it SMART? Or specific. Could add another section. Here you can see that there's great options for adding in different sections. You could do a split layout where you have text on one side, images on another. Photo grids, if you want it to be all visuals. You can embed a video here, potentially around SMART goals. You can even have students self-record their own videos using Adobe Express Video and then add it in here. I'm going to keep this to text, center it, and just say, define how your goal is achievable. And for any of you that have done SMART goals in the classroom before, you know where I'm going with this. Once you have made the changes that you like to see, you feel like it's a good structure for students that they can show their creative expression and creativity by making it their own. All you have to do is close out of this, hit the back button when you get back into the Google Classroom window. Your project list will update. And you can see that this change that I just made, this project that I just created, is now present in my asset browser. I can click preview. You can see this in the Google Classroom window now. All the changes that I made are here. I'm going to click attach. If I click students can view the project, they'll be able to see it and comment on the asset within Google Classroom, but they won't actually be able to customize it for themselves. If you click make a copy for each student, what that's going to do is it's going to actually publish the project, and that's what I have to do here. It's going to publish the project and make a copy of it for all students so that when they go into Adobe Express, they just say make a copy, and all of a sudden it's created that asset for the individual student to then make it their own. Similar to what I just demoed with the original asset on Growth Mindset, changing it into something that I want to use. So once I've done that, by the way, students will log in and they'll be able to, you can see it's done it here. It says my goals for the year in U.S. history. That's the template. I'm going to go ahead and click assign. And then when the student logs into their Google Classroom account, they will see an assignment has been created and that there's now an attachment waiting for them to customize within Adobe Express. They then submit to Google Classroom using a button from Adobe Express that just says submit in Google Classroom. And then I'm able to grade it as I was showing you earlier in the screenshots. So this is a really, really powerful integration. It's a great way to spark creative expression for your students, but in a way that fits your existing workflow, helps save you time, helps save them time getting into creation without being scared by that sort of blank canvas that students so often see when they're asked to create something. Like they just get that fear of not knowing how to begin. The templates that we offer and that you can create as the educator and then assign to students give them a starting point to then really run wild with their own creativity. Or in other cases, not only just creativity, but also sharing what they have learned in your particular class in just a bit of a different way. All right. So just to summarize how you actually get access to this really great Google Classroom add-on feature. Your IT admin does have to install this for you, whether it be at the entire district or at the school level. So talk to your IT admin about upgrading to the Teaching and Learning or Education Plus editions of Google Workspace for Education. I imagine most teachers probably don't know if they have that or not, but your IT admin and EdTech team will. And then if they do, make sure that they install the Adobe Express add-on this week and next. It's launching officially on August 1st, but for many districts, it's rolling out this week during the summit. And then the only thing that they additionally need to do in order to make sure it has that seamless experience of signing in to the tool that I was showing is that they set up federation with Google in the Adobe admin console. So you don't need to worry about that as an educator. Your IT admin will understand, but just oftentimes it helps IT admins if they're hearing it from teachers themselves. So encourage them to do all of those things. And then all you have to do is see it populated in your Google Classroom and launch it and use it in your classroom anytime after August 1st. So to close this out, I'll turn it to you, Alana.
Thanks so much, Cliff. Really excited to hear about all of the fun things going on. So if you are a US K-12 educator with Google Workspace for Education and you don't yet have an Adobe Express account, you can create a free one today. Go to adobe.ly/classroom now. And if you're a K-12 teacher with a paid tier of Google Workspace for Education anywhere in the world, and you can find that out by asking your IT admin, talk to your IT admin and ask them to install Google Classroom add-ons. So once you've got your Express for EDU account, get started. Try out our monthly creative challenges, a lot of fun and a really great way to get your students using Adobe Express. And then we've got some bonus points. Check out edX for free content, professional learning courses, and teaching resources, and that's the Adobe Education Exchange. We also have specific Adobe Express teaching resources and Lightning learning courses, which will tell you all about how to use Adobe Express in your classroom. So there are some fun ones like infographics, web pages, etc. Okay, Cliff and Stephanie, I'll bring you back on to say goodbye. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat and we'll follow up with you. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. We really loved getting the chance to tell you about our exciting updates from Adobe for Education and